it's Hope here at Crafty Hope, and I am sitting here with an array of the beads and chain and other goodies that Jesse James Beads sent me as a Jesse James Beads Design Ambassador. And one of the things they sent me was their new spring song bead mix here that includes this beautiful little bird charm, and I love it. I especially love that it's antiqued brass. I make a lot of stuff with antiqued brass, so you know that definitely appeals to me. But as I was playing around with some of the other things, I started looking at this enamel chain they also sent. What color was this? I'm trying to see. Sage green. And I love it kind of up against this bird so that it looks like there are leaves. Can you see that? If I can get it going in the right direction. Almost so it looks like those, like a laurel wreath or leaves coming up off of it. Now, I don't think I want to do the whole chain in that, but I definitely like the part connecting to this bird because it also has like a pale golden brassy color to it, and that green is just so gorgeous. So I want to figure out how to bring the green into the pendant, and I have got some paint. This is Ultimate Craft paint, but I could also use some patinas or an acrylic paint or something, just whatever you've got. But I've got these two that are moss and sandstone, and I think mixing them together a little bit might give me that same olivey green or sage green color that I can paint on these little leaves here. So I'm going to try it. This is a risk. I don't know how this is going to go, but I really want to experiment with that. So I'm going to try to move some stuff. I've got a nonstick craft sheet here that I'll put my bird down on, and I'm going to use my paints. I also need a very fine brush, if I can find one. Alright, so I've got a very fine brush for painting, but I want one also for mixing. So I think mostly I'm going to need the green. So let's see if I can get it open. These I'm still learning with. These are pretty new to me. I'm going to put a couple drops of that moss down, and then just maybe a drop or two excuse me, of this sandstone. Let me see. I'll start with one and we'll see how it does. This is my mixing brush. We're going to put this over here so we can take a look. Now we need a little bit more. And I've got a couple other colors if I need to try something else. It's a little bit closer. I kind of want to put, I don't know, y'all. I don't want to get too crazy with it. So I'll try another drop and we'll see. If that doesn't work, I may add a brown. Yeah, that's still not going in the direction that I want. So I'm going to try this earth brown and put just a drop of it in there. And we'll see what happens. None of this may work. I may have to go and get the acrylic paint. Alright, so I'm going to mix just a little bit of that in there. I've lost a bunch of my green. So, come back in with the green. Oh, yeah, I think I'm going like completely the wrong way on this. And this is way more paint than I will need for this tiny little bird. What does it need? Alright, we'll try just another drop of sandstone. Y'all, I don't even know. Might have been better just with what I started with. Alright, I think we're going to go with that. It is not exactly the right green, but I think it's going to give me the notion. Now, I've got a lot of paint on this brush that I have, and you know what? I want to go ahead and grab a sanding tool. I think, you know what? I think we'll be okay. I don't need it right away. I do want to look and see if I've got paper towel, just in case things go awry. All right, so I am going to try to paint these leaves. All right. I don't know that you're going to be able to even tell that these are green with the brass, because it is a very similar color to the brass. Kind of want to maybe, like I said, this is all of an experiment. And you know, guys, if you don't experiment and try something new, you'll never know what'll happen. And I have to remind myself that all the time. That sure, it's a risk, but if you don't do it, you'll just never know what might have happened. It could be the best thing ever. Right, I am going over all of these with just that straight green. I'm gonna have to find something else to paint with all this other paint I mixed up. I feel kind of bad about wasting it. But at least it's getting used and not sitting in my stash, right? Alright. So, I'm gonna put my paintbrushes up. I used that one. Go ahead and I guess I'll just wipe this up. And I am going to put my bird aside to dry while I think about what else I want to do here. Now I might could paint the brass branch and the bird themselves, because I do have some other colors, but I kind of just wanted it to kind of be in the green theme. Now I am considering some of these ceramic beads, these nice brown ceramic beads, because they are kind of woodsy, outsidey, along with maybe some of these little spacers here. There's some brass spacers. And then I was thinking, last shipment I got from Jesse James before this one had, I think it was that one that had some brown beads in it. So I may go grab that while this is drying and be right back. I am back with a few ideas. I did find some brown beads in my stash. I'm not sure which mix they came from, but they are these like almost champagne-y colored with an AB finish. I thought might go really nice up here at the top to transition to the chain, and go with those. But I also found these green beads. Of course, I should look in the rainforest mix I just got. I also have another rainforest mix, so I might have more of these if I need them. These like really nice green. Uh-oh. Well, now I gotta find that. Did y'all see where it went? Shout at me. I'll find it. I am sure. Oh, there it is. Thank you. I heard you. This didn't take really long to dry. It just a few minutes while I was gathering that. So I want to sand it back a little bit so some of those lines, like the veins in the leaves, can show up a little more. And so yeah, I've got a couple things here. These are mostly nail files. And then this is just a not sanding sponge. This is a like pot scrubber from the grocery store. So I'm trying to decide which grit I want to try it with, because I don't want anything that's gonna mar it up or take off too much of our paint. So I'm just gonna go over it a little bit. Yeah, I like that. It almost makes me want to go ahead and do the bird with the blue I've got, but I think that would be too much. Or maybe even the brown. What if I did the bird in a brown? What do y'all think? What did I just say? If I don't try things, I'll never know. So I guess I will try it with the brown, since I am going for a green and brown theme. So I'll pull out that little brush I guess I had a minute ago, or at least another brush, and put some of this brown down. We're gonna paint our bird brown. Alright, clean this up again. give it another couple minutes to dry. Okay, so that is dry, and I think I'm going to try this since it's a little more flexible to push back a little bit. If that doesn't work, I may get some steel wool. Just want to push back some of that brown a little, and all it really did was darken up the bird a little bit. All right. I don't know if that makes any difference if y'all can see that bit of green and bit of brown, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of color. You could definitely go wild with other paints and colors and make it vibrant and neon or whatever, but I think this is going to be how I want to do it. So I'm going to take these two, like I said, champagne-y kind of brown ones and put them here, and then I will figure out, keep losing the end of this, how I want to connect these on either side. And I want them both to be going so the chevrons are like going up like a leaf, not down. So, and then from there, I think I'm going to figure out I kind of want to leave, I think, just the brown beads and let this green and this green be the only green on there. Okay. That, I think, is going to work for me. Oh, here's another one of those. Yeah, I'm going to get started on that in just a second. Alright, guys, that was only a second for y'all, but this was yesterday that I did this, and so I'm trying to get back in my mind frame. Okay, so I think we're going to get started by attaching these things. The first thing I want to do is this enamel chain is connected in a very unique manner. So you have to see this one has got the loop cut off. So there is a hole. Oh, y'all, I'm not even on frame. See if I can get that where y'all can see it. I hope you can see that. So there's a hole in between that V shape. And then at the bottom of the V shape, there's a loop. So what I want is that loop, especially since I want it going this way. So I need to cut this piece off so that I can get to the loop and hopefully attach this bead to that. So I'm basically going to use these beads as connectors from my pendant to the enamel chain. That's the plan anyway. So let's see if I can get this cut. I've got some stronger than my other flush cutters to cut that off. So unfortunately I've got to waste that link, but it served its purpose in helping me design this, right? Okay, so this is some 22 gauge antique brass wire. This is hardware store brass wire that I have darkened and sealed. So what I'm going to do is make a wrap loop. So I'm holding my round nose pliers about, I don't even know, y'all, just about an inch or so from the top. I bend it at a 90-degree angle, and then I'm going to slide it up my round nose pliers to about the size of the loop that I want to make. And I'm going to make that loop, turn my pliers, and finish that loop. So I have a loop with a bit of a tail. Now I'm going to open this loop just a scoosh, so I can slide it on to that loop at the top of my pendant. Now I'm going to grab my tweezer nose pliers here and close that loop and then hold it like so. And then I'm going to finish my wrap like such. Now if I have excess wire here, I'm trying to get this where I can see it. I'm going to wrap it one more, just around a little bit more. If I have excess, I will go ahead and take my actual flush cutters and trim off that excess. Alright, and then I will use either my tweezer nose pliers or some other chain nose pliers to get that tail end all the way down. Okay, so there is that. Now I will slide my bead on, and I'm sorry y'all, I work in these like 1 foot lengths or so. That's just what works for me when I pull that brass wire out of the spool it comes in from the hardware store. Okay, so there is that on there, and I'm going to do another wrapped loop. Now I want to study how the loop on this chain goes because I want this to lay flat. So I am going to make this loop in the opposite direction of the loop we made at the bottom. So instead of going like this way, it's going to go this way. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to turn this, and using my round nose pliers again, make my bend, and I lift it up just a little bit so I can slide it up to that point where I want it. Now, because we are going to need to put it on there, I don't want to have to deal with all of this wire, so I am going to go ahead and trim that down just a little bit so I can look at my wire, at my chain here. Now, because this is double-sided, yay, I don't have to fuss with which side is going to go on which side. I just need to slip it on to my bit of wire. I did not open that loop, so I'm going to slip it open real quick, and y'all, look, it is connected. We're going to close that loop like so. Again, just twisting until that wire is touching my bead. Alright, and then I will use my flush cutters to cut the excess, if I can find it, just like that. Everything's getting kerfluffled over here. And then I will close them. I like to tuck those little ends, y'all. It's like an obsession I have. It's not completely necessary. It's just one of those things I have to do. Alright, so there. Now I could just keep that going, find a center point and cut it off, but I'm going to decide about how many, like how long do I want that to be. I don't feel like it needs to be super long, but I want to make sure that I have the hole on that V. So the hole that's here, not the loop that's down here, so that I can connect it to the next beads, which means we'll have to sacrifice at least one more of those links, but all in the name of making some beautiful jewelry, right? So let's see, how many of these chevrons do I want? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I think we'll say 9. So that means I need to cut the loop off of this next one. Hopefully I can do this. See if I can get in there. I get real quiet when I'm concentrating, y'all. I'm quite a lot. Oh, maybe my flush cutters would do better. These little loops are okay. Let's make sure it is off of my, it is not off of my little hoop there, so I need to trim it some more. Let's see if I can pull it off. Oh y'all, I may have to bring in the magnifying glass. Hold on. Okay, that was just a matter of getting it a little closer to my face. Alright, so now I have that 9 there, and so I'm going to go ahead and trim this one to make everything easier. What did I use? My bigger pliers here to trim the hole here. And I may go ahead and just trim this whole thing down to the 9 since I know that's what I need. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 1. You know what? I'm going to double check this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Alright, so again, I need to trim off that loop. That worked better. All right, just take a little man handling or woman handling. How about that? All right, so we're gonna do our other beads. I'll need another piece. I'm trying to find if I have the same piece of wire. Oh, y'all, I've just got a pile of wire over here. Where did that piece I cut go? All right, it doesn't matter. It's all from the same package. All right, so we're gonna make another wrapped loop. Remembering to connect it before I close it. That is the hardest part for me, y'all. I'm constantly closing my loops and having to cut them off and start over. So I'm gonna connect it there to my pendant, close it and twist it. Now if I have just enough wire here, like, oh, mess with my light, didn't I? Just like a tiny bit there, that's enough to finish this. I will take my chain nose pliers and just ease it around rather than trimming it so that I can have all of my wraps. Okay, and then I will slide on my bead here. Alright, and I'm going to bend it in the opposite direction from the previous loop. Take it up and around, and I'm going to trim it down just a little bit so that we can slide in. This one I'm going to put it there so I know it is. Alright, we're going to open this just a scoosh, slip it into that loop. Did I not open it enough? There. Alright, and then make my other loop. Now if you'd rather do this with like simple loops and jump rings, go for it. You know, for me it's, you know, the big thing is to make sure all of your loops are facing that right direction, and you can always just use your pliers to twist your loops so that everything's facing, so that when you wear this, that chain will be laying flat against your neck. The beads of course can go in any direction, but the chain itself, you want it kind of flat. Okay, so we're going to tuck that little end and decide on our last little bit. Now, I'm keeping in mind that if I don't have enough beads to make an entire necklace, I can always add some chain to the back of that. So I'm not going to stress too much about that. But see how beautifully that lays? Perfect. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Alright, so I can use that little loop that's there. I'm trying to decide if that's what I want to do or if I want to add a jump ring there. Of course, I don't have... where are my brass jump rings? I personally prefer to go ahead and connect via wrapped loops, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make a wrapped loop here. So I'll make my 90-degree angle. I will turn it like this, open it a little bit, and then slip it into that hole. And like I said, I like to make wrap loops simply because to me they feel more secure than a jump ring or even a simple loop. When I say I'm going to slip it into that hole, might have to break out the jump rings. This does not, let me see, there we go. Okay. Whew. Just about getting over one of those V's on there. Alright, so I will hold that and turn. Now some people like when they make their wraps like this, they prefer to do it with their pliers, and if that's how you do it, go for it. Everybody has their own way to kind of what feels comfortable for them. So you make these things how it feels most comfortable to you. Alright, so I have that, and I am going to, uh-oh, something just fell off my desk. I don't know what that was. Alright, so the next thing I think I want to use is maybe one of these. I'm a little concerned that the size of the size of the ceramic, the holes for the ceramic beads are a little big. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put a brass one down. Sorry for the dog, y'all. There's probably somebody driving down my street. I'm going to put the brass one on because it has a smaller hole on it, and I will show you how I will deal with those larger holes. It's a fun little technique with the wrap loops. So I am going, because I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do them all in the same direction. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and at least make this one in that same direction and turn it. And this one we can just regularly close. We don't have to connect it to anything, because our next link we can form ourselves, and that way I can show you how I deal with those larger holes, at least for this type of method. But I'm gonna go ahead and trim that and then tuck it. All right, so for our next one, we are going to, thinking ahead, knowing that we're going to put that on there, I am going to get a bit more wire. I'm going to go down my wire quite a bit more, because basically think about, you're going to double up that wrap. So the way I do that is I'm going to go ahead and make my loop with that longer tail, and I'm turning it, and I'm going to do my wrap. And most of my wraps are 3 wraps, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1, 2, and 3, and then I will slide on my ceramic bead. So I still have this bit of tail here. Then I will do my other loop, bend, bring it up, wrap. Alright, and while it is open, before I close it, I'm going to slip it on to that loop of that brass bead. Alright, so I have these 2 chains. So I'm going to go ahead, the one that we still have open, I will go ahead and wrap my down to my bead, just like we did before, and then kind of back up. So basically I'm doubling up that wire, and then I will trim it like so and dog it like so. And then I will go back to that other side that still has the tail on it, and I'm going to wrap it back up as well. Now you could totally have wrapped it back up beforehand, but I have found, for me personally, it is easier to do the wrap back up when that bead is there and it has something to like press against. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's just easier for me that way. So if you've been struggling with making a double wrap like that, that is how I like to do it. Okay guys, so I am going to take a look at this, and I think I'm going to just go ahead and keep alternating the brass, ceramic, brass, ceramic, brass. I think that will finish up one side, and then I will have brass, ceramic, that's that side, brass, ceramic, brass, ceramic, brass on the other side. And so I'm going to do that and then see how long this necklace is, and if we're going to need to add some chain, or if it'll be fine that length. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back in just a second. So I have gotten both sides done. I was going to measure this real quick just to let y'all know. I do know I need just a little bit more, a couple inches to finish it off. I don't want it to be super chokery, so I was going to tell you how long each side is. It's about 7 1/4, so that means about 14 1/2, so that's really short. Yeah, so I definitely need a couple more inches. So I'm gonna do maybe about 1.5 inches on each side. I don't know, I'm not gonna measure it. Y'all, that's just how I roll. I am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. So I'm trying to find a little piece of something, some other wire to hold my chain up and decide how long I want it. Alright, so I'm going to say about that long. And actually, is this split? That is split. I may go ahead and open it. Where are my bent news? Alright. So I will open that, take it off, and close it. And then I'm going to take the other one at the end and hold it up and figure out how much I need. If I can get it to hang straight. Alright, so this one I need to open. Now you can also just, if these are not a split chain, I think I'm opening it on the wrong side. I did. You can always just cut it, which is what I would normally do. So, not a big deal. While this one is open, I am going to go ahead and slip it on to one side of my necklace. And then open the other one again. If I can find it. And slip it open. And slip it on. But then I'm going to use jump rings on the other side just for a little bit additional security on that chain. So I found my jump rings. I don't need anything too big. I've got a spring clasp with like one of the little hooky attachment. I don't know what do you call that? The clasp attachment thing. I don't know. So I'm just gonna get a couple of, oh, what are these, like 2-3 millimeter? I don't know. And because I am right-handed, I will put the part you have to do it, the thingy on the actual clasp on that side. But know that if you are gifting this to somebody who's left-handed, go ahead and put that over on the left side. It just makes it easier for them, I think. And it really doesn't matter. We all should become a little ambidextrous, I think, sometimes. There's some things I do left-handed. Alright, so I have opened my jump ring, slid that on, going to slide on the little, I don't know, the little clasp attachment thingy on the other side, and then twist close this jump ring. And this necklace is done, y'all. I'm gonna test it real quick. Actually, I think I've gotten it twisted. Yeah, there. Okay. Okay. You know what? I ended up putting it on the left side because it was just said that it would be good for me to do it on the left side, and I did. Because I had that upside down. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Alright, so I'm gonna test that, make sure. Oh yeah, that is a really good length. And I will close it back up. Alright guys, so that is it. That's what I have made. Most of these beads I think came from the Spring Song mix, with the exception of these two little brown beads, which I'm not sure what they're from Jessie James, because they're in my Jessie James beads. But that and the chain and the clasp, everything else except for the wire was Jessie James. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit longer because I did my talking my way through. Let me know if you like that or you prefer my speed throughs. Alright guys, I encourage you to go check out Jessie James Beads, the Spring Song mix. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and come back later and see what else I'm doing, because I still have all this left. Look at all that. Oh my gosh, so many goodies. I'll see you later. Bye.